You remember.
Roll your stealth roll?
Game books, pencils, pizza, cheese puffs, and a hell of a lot of dice.
And the dragon woke up.
Roll for initiative. This is the Roll for Initiative podcast, where 1E is the place to be.
Roll for Initiative podcast. This is volume 4, I think, right?
Yes.
165. Yeah, it's been a while since we've done a show. We are back. We're here to stay. We're never going anywhere. Maybe someone else might be, but I'll always be here.
Do we get bathroom breaks?
No bathroom breaks. All right, 1 bathroom break per 4 hours.
Ooh.
Okay.
The way I poo, I need like 1 every 4 minutes.
Jeez. Are you
Really
eating
bad.
Mexican food?
What are you eating, Matt?
Lots and lots of energy drinks.
Lots of fiber.
Yes. I'm very
He's like his
regular.
cat. Every 5
Eating tree ants and shambling mounds.
We are live on the air for Google Hangouts. You can watch most of our shows here since, I think, the 150s. I don't know. Just look up Wild Games Productions on YouTube, and you will see most of the shows that have gone live on there that I've been involved in. The rest of them are not doing that because they are not interested in that, but we are.
Yeah.
Losers.
Oh. Yeah, losers.
Loser.
RFIstaff@gmail.com. RFIpodcast.com is our website, which is fully going up, and people were complaining it was down for a while, but Matt went through and fixed it. He stayed up all night with all the tinkers, and he fixed it.
Yay.
Yes.
Golf clap.
Lots of tinkers. Couldn't have done it without the tinkers.
Tinker gnomes, huh?
Yes.
Little buggers.
Yes, thank your gnome for our website. The kobolds weren't much of a help. All they did was answer the complaint calls.
They are kobolds.
Yeah.
570-865-4210 is our hotline. So this week we're going to empty out the email bag and the voicemail line and just get all that taken care of because we got backlogged on a lot of stuff while we were gone. Convention-wise, I know the number one question that I've received via email, so I'll just sum that up real quick, is where is Chad?
Chad? Oh, that guy in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Chicago.
No, the Dead Game Society guy.
Yeah.
Man, I haven't heard from him in months. I know didn't he have like a change in like his work schedule?
It was that, and he's mostly really busy with work and his family. So
Yeah.
I know he hasn't done anything with Dead Game Society in a while either. And now we're on podcast convention season.
Yes.
Speaking of podcast and convention, there's a giant podcast convention here in Dallas. I don't know if you saw that, Matt.
No, I did not.
Yeah, it's like $150 to $500 for the tickets.
What?
What?
It's like the biggest podcasters in the world.
$150 to $500 a ticket?
Yeah, how many days you want to stay there?
That makes Gen Con sound like a bargain.
Yeah. And what is it? Just a bunch of people sitting around talking about how great they are?
It's basically, yeah, that. There's a lot of seminars. There's a lot of one of those, like, when they do the video games, how they have equipment all laying out, and you get to take a peek at them, and you get to see the best setups for podcasting, things like that.
So it's like all type of podcasts. Like if someone had a podcast about bonsai tree trimming, they would be there.
Yeah, like anything. Even the major ones, like I don't know, let's say.
Wow.
Like NPR.
Let's talk bigger than NPR, Matt.
Yes.
Yeah, it's something that people actually listen to and not fall asleep to.
Like Adam Carolla, for instance, his podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Podcast
or
One.
Kevin Smith, maybe?
Yeah, or Kevin Smodcast. That would be.
There you go. There's a guy I listen to once in a while.
Mm-hmm. They would be there. I don't know if Kevin Smith's actually going, but they do have some celebrities there, and it is coming up in July. And I looked at it, I went, I don't care that it's in almost Dallas. I'm going to that.
Right. Yeah, for the amount it would cost you to get into that con, you could afford to go to Gen Con at those prices.
Yeah. Speaking about conventions, last convention I went to was North Texas RPG Con. It was fun. I had a good time. I got to see Frank and Tim and Jeff Grubb was there. Margaret Weiss was there. Tracy Hickman was there. I don't know if Laura was there, but I know Tracy was there for a while. It seems a lot of them decided to go to this convention instead of Origins this year, which I was.
Yeah. I went to Origins.
We know.
Yes, I'll talk about that in a minute. So what else happened in North Texas RPG Con?
I got to sit there. I did some great interviews for the show.
Cool.
I met up with Glenn. We did some funny bits. I got to sit in and listen to DM Mike of Save or Die, his Victorious game, which sounded interesting. Finally being the book should be out soon since the successful Kickstarter was good.
Cool.
So I got to listen to that game, talk to them, talk to Bad Mike for a little while. That was a good fun convention. Spoke to Zach from
Lesser Gnome.
Thank you, Lesser Gnome. I was going to say
Lesser Gnome.
Zach from Glazer. I was going to say
Zach from Glazer.
Zach Glazer. He was nice. We had a little chat there. I bought some stuff from him. Bought some stuff from. I got the Tingle Manor reprint that they did for Origins, I believe it was.
Oh, cool.
And then my wife and I decided we were going to go to a local wrestling show here.
How does wrestling always somehow gets involved?
Yes, I know. Matt would be familiar. It's an NWA organization called Smash Mouth. We were talking about that, Matt.
Yeah.
All back. I went to that, and then I come out of the show, and my car was broken into.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I lost everything.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Did you say that yours wasn't not the only one that was broken into either?
When I called the police and spoke to them about it in Arlington of Dirtbag, Texas, they said it was probably that was the 10th person that had called about that whole incident. So
I see.
Yeah.
Wow.
Lost a laptop with all my recording equipment for mobile recording, but
damn.
And the insurance company is probably not covering it because they're like, well, you shouldn't have been there.
Shouldn't have been there. But yeah, I knew that this was a bad place to be.
I didn't know. It was Arlington Park.
Right.
Like it was like, there was beer cans and smashed things all over the place, and there were people stabbing each other around in the area.
I know. And then word park is in the name. It sounds nice.
Well, outside of the stabbing each other, that sounds where the wrestling show I was working last night.
Oh my God.
I have to say that they had the most ridiculous names for people. The champion was Big Daddy Yum Yum was his name.
He's actually wrestled for New Japan Pro Wrestling. A friend of mine. I'm trying to think of my.
Yeah. Big Daddy
Yum Yum. Yeah, Big Daddy Yum Yum. Was there a Bruce Tharp there?
No, I didn't. At least I didn't see if there was.
Okay, yeah, because Bruce Tharp, I think, is the president of the NWA, because he'll pop over there in New Japan with like Rob Conway, and because I think he was the NWA champ at one point. So
no, he lost. He dropped his title to Action Jackson. So
Action Jackson.
It's very sad. I've actually heard of these people. I'm in the wrestling bubble too much,
I guess.
Good show. Yeah. Had fun.
Okay, that tripped your trigger.
Yep.
I haven't followed wrestling since.
Yeah, JJ Dillon was there, Matt. That was
sweet.
Yeah, I didn't get to him because we didn't go to the VIP meet and greet. That was an extra $5. That was 2 hours earlier that I didn't know about.
Oh wow.
Well, the tickets were $20 for the VIP seating.
Yeah.
And it was an extra like $5 or $10 for the extra VIP meet and greet, which I didn't know about. I would have went to go say hi to him.
Right, yeah. $25 to meet JJ. That's not bad. It's like when I went to the New Japan shows out on the East Coast a few years back, it was like $100 for a front row seat and the meet and greet to meet the New Japan roster. But
now this was like the VIP front row seat was a long bench that you sat on.
Yeah. At least with the show I went to, it had been like front row at the ECW arena to see New Japan. So, whereas when I sat in the infamous bleachers of the ECW arena.
Infamous bleachers?
Yes. Anyone who's watched old ECW knows those bleachers. So.
All right. So anyway, Matt, what have you been up to? I know last time you told me you were going to be playing Legend of the Five Rings.
Yeah, we tried that out. It was actually the 4th edition, not the 3rd edition like I thought. It went well. We just kind of did it as a one shot. My character took a horrible turn dark with what he was being blackmailed with, to the point where I won't even mention what it was on the show. But no, it was fun. We'll probably go back to it once our GM gets a chance to actually develop a campaign. He just kind of ran as a one shot to see how we like the system and whatnot. So we'll be returning to that.
What clan or class?
Oh, what clan? Scorpion. We were all Scorpion clan.
Oh, you rolled the same thing. Okay.
Well, no, that was the one thing for the one shot we set. The story he kind of has plotted out. It requires us to all be Scorpion, so we just had to all pick a member of the Scorpion clan to be. And coming up today, after we get done recording, I'll be heading over, and we have a grudge rematch for Fortress America. I always play US, and we've played 3 times. I've beat them twice. They've beat me once, and the only time they beat me is when the power went out as we were playing, and we had to play by flashlight. So I'm blaming the loss on the lack of proper lighting. So we are doing another rematch, and I will crush them because USA always wins Fortress America when I play. Yes. Yeah, and then also just doing my Gen Con prep. So kind of excited about that. At the same time, I'm just like, oh, please don't be this just giant blob mass of humanity that just makes it an episodic episode of frustration getting through. Because Gen Con last year was just weird.
It sounds like it's even going to be weirder and more difficult this year.
Yeah. Gen Con, it's still go once and see if you like the massive large scene. I know a lot of people.
Sharing the insanity.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Just no. Nick.
Yes, sir.
What have you been doing?
Things. No, I'll actually a couple things I could talk about. First thing is, you talked about North Texas RPG Con. I went to Origins and had probably one of the best times I've had at Origins this year. It was wonderful. First thing I got to say is thank you to all the people who I've met there who listen to the podcast. Every year now it seems like I'm meeting more and more people who have heard of Roll for Initiative. So it's just growing tremendously. One person in particular I like to say, thanks to is Jason Paul McCartan, who does OSR Today. He was there over at the Dungeon Crawl Classics booth, Badger.
Oh, I thought he was overseas. I didn't know he was.
No,
there.
He actually lives in the Columbus area.
Oh, I thought he lived overseas. Wow, cool.
Yeah, he lives in the Columbus, Ohio area. He just lives like 10, 15 minutes out of north of downtown Columbus. And we got to talking, and I'm like, "You're Scottish, aren't you?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm from Scotland." And I started talking to him in Scottish. He's like, "Please stop." And I had a real good time talking with him and the folks there at the Dungeon Crawl Classics booth. I spent a lot of time over there and actually broke down and bought the big game book.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to use the whole system, but I am definitely going to mine it for ideas. There's a lot of cool ideas that I dig out of it. I might do a one-off or two with the group. I bought some other adventures to go along with it. I was really digging that. And another thing I picked up from Osric was the Monsters of Myth book. They had that published. So I picked that up. I thought that was pretty neat. And also they had a nice OSR section there, a little OSR section. And then one of the things I saw, if not people know about this, Black Blade Publishing is reprinting all of Rob Kuntz's stuff, like Bottled City, Cairn of the Skeleton Key, all those modules that he did originally under Piper Publishing. They're under Black Blade Publishing now, so you can go look for those. I highly recommend Bottled City. It's a great add-on to a Mega Dungeon. So they had a lot of that there. Saw the folks from Kenzer Co. Jolly Blackburn and Barb were there, his wife Barbara. You got to say hi to them. And as far as gaming's concerned, I am really impressed with the amount of like old school gaming that's going on there now. I registered for Area of the Salt of the Slave Lords. It's module A3. We got to play through that. That was really fun. And we got to play, this was the real big one, Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. We got to play through that too. And it's really difficult. It wasn't difficult for me, but I think maybe for some people who are familiar with the modules, between player knowledge and character knowledge, you don't want to metagame it. And I think we did a really good job, particularly on the part when we were fighting in Slave Lords. There's a section where you meet up with, it looks like you meet up with the Demon Lord of Gnolls, and he's in a room with a whole bunch of like gnolls and ghouls and stuff. I totally forgot that there was it's all an illusion. It's all like phantasmal force spells, and I'm playing this cleric, and I played him great. He was a cleric of St. Cuthbert, and I was just like, I will slay you in the name of St. Cuthbert under his holy wrath, and I'm just really good time with that. And Expedition to Barrier Peaks, that was good because we actually destroyed the spaceship. So, like any typical dungeon my friends and I go into, we tend to destroy them in various ways. So that was really, really fun. And we walked out of there with an android. Called him Bob. No, Phil. Phil the android. So we're walking around. Our characters now in Greyhawk are walking around with an android named Phil. Got into two other groups I like to put a shout out to as well is Sparks, who do the D6 Star Wars role-playing game stuff. They do that every year at Origins. And again, they did a fantastic job. Wonderful job. We went into, I think, 3 different adventures. Our first one we went into was really outmatched. We were way outmatched. Ugh. It was like most of us, it'd be the equivalent of going into Tomb of Horrors with first level characters and 2 10th level characters. Yeah, we got totally taken out by it was a Sith Inquisitor with 3 of the Imperial Guards in their red armor. Yeah, it was really bad. Yeah, because my friend Jeff, his character, had a force pike stuck into his leg, and they ripped his leg off and just walked away. So I'm like, damn, we got off easy there.
Nick, does the Sparks people use the re-up for Star Wars yet, or they have not discovered?
The expanded and revised? I really don't know. There's not a whole lot of difference. I mean, I like their group because they're keeping the D6 system alive, and also it's pretty much a living campaign because you can bring your characters over and over again, and you can track it. So it's like living Star Wars. It's very cool. And also Rogue Cthulhu, always doing outstanding time there. We went into 2 games for them, and the first one it wasn't the actual Call of Cthulhu rules. It's something called Dark Cthulhu, and it's very different. It's like minimalist mechanics. I mean, it's just like a D6, and we were all playing in the scenario was called Heist, And it was described to us like if Quentin Tarantino directed a Call of Cthulhu kind of film mixed with a little bit of Reservoir Dogs, and this is what you get. So, and that's what kind of happened. So we were all like hired to try to steal the Mona Lisa. And everybody had their own ulterior motives, and no one trusted anybody else. And it ended up with my friend's Jeff character running away to Russia because he was actually part of the Russian mafia. My character left and just ran off to the deepest darks of Africa again because he's actually kind of immortal. And killed off a lot of other player characters. That was fun. And then we got into a part 2 of a scenario we did last year called Ascension 2. Which I called Ascension 2 Electric Boogaloo, just because. This was a second part of a scenario where there was a spaceship going to Mars. There were nanites on the planet Mars infest the spaceship and the people. It's coming back to Earth. And then the nanites somehow send a signal to Earth, and that signal caused a virus to go through like 60 to 70% of the computers on the planet. And we're trying to fight it in that part 2. And we actually were fighting the nanites. It like much of the planet's taken over. They've taken over people and plants and everything. That was an interesting scenario. It was really fun because we found out a couple of things about the nanites. They don't like dirt. So my friend Jeff, again, his character, he's playing a Russian cosmonaut, okay? And he's playing his character as, like, if there's something just occurs to him that sounds good, he just does it. He doesn't explain what he's doing. So he's just like, we're going to Offutt Air Force Base, SAC headquarters. We're supposed to help out. We find out that apparently they don't like sound. We make these sonic guns and everything. Anyway, all of a sudden, he had this, I guess he had this idea they didn't like dirt or something. He starts rolling around the mud. And I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, mud, dirt, they cannot assimilate. I'm like, oh, everybody start rolling in the mud. Gave us 5 extra points of armor, and that came through huge. So it got to at the end, we actually were at I don't know if you call it a stalemate, but there was a truce with the alien nanites and the human race because the alien nanites, their masters, are coming to Earth, and they're going to wipe out the nanites and us. And that's going to be part 3 next year. We hope to get into that. So that'll be really, really fun. And all in all, it was a really good convention. I had a real good time. And yeah, that's pretty much Origins in a nutshell.
Cool. All right, so let's continue on with things. We do have a bunch of voicemails and emails to go on with, so let's head up for the first voicemail we have here this week. Let me just cue that up.
Hey, this is DM Raul, or Angelic Doctor, on the forums, on the OSR Gaming forums, and this is for Roll for Initiative. I just listened to your latest episode on OSR Gaming, and it was incredible. Loved it. Love the show, guys. Keep up the great work. For myself, I know I had been away from the hobby for at least 10 years while I was in the military and starting a family. But then I wanted to get back into it, and so my gateway back into the hobby was through the mentioned Dragon's Foot forums, and then, of course, the Castles and Crusades game by the Troll Lords. And to me, or what I like to call it, as what D&D 3rd edition should have been. Anyway, again, thanks for the show. Keep up the great work, and we'll see you on the forums. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Excellent. Yes. Our minions are growing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for the call in, Raul. And yes, I'm glad you were into the hobby full force and enjoying it.
With guns a-blazing.
I know he plays a lot of Star Wars, too.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, the next one comes from, guess who?
Let me guess. DM Kojo?
Actually, we have 2 voicemails from DM Kojo.
Oh.
2? Well, my goodness. He's been a busy boy.
Hey, Giants. This is DM Kojo calling for Roll for Initiative. Just wanted to call and thank you guys for some great shows recently. Really enjoyed them. Bummed I didn't see any RFI presence at GaryCon this year. Hopefully next year, maybe at least one of you guys that live closer can make it up there. But I wanted to call in today with a request for module review. Specifically, it's a two-parter here. The classic module I-1, Dwellers of the Forbidden City by Zeb Cook, is one of my favorites. It was originally a tournament module, I know, and it was a lot of fun. I played that one back in the day. And then last year, I had a chance to pick up a module from Pacesetter Games, TM4, Legacy of the Forbidden City, written by Bill Barsh. And it's a first edition compatible adventure that takes place in the Forbidden City 50 years later. So kind of an homage to the original module without actually referencing the original in it, of course, for copyright reasons. But a really good adventure from the looks of it. I haven't had a chance to run it, but thought I would call in and suggest it to you guys. But maybe you guys can take a look at both of those in an episode maybe. All right. Keep up the great work. Thanks. Bye.
Mm-hmm.
Dwellers of the Forbidden City. I have that one, and I'm trying to think if I did a review of that. Or, I'm sorry, Blackstone did a review of it. I don't know. Yeah. I'll consult with him and see if he has. If not, that's a good module. It's almost like Secret of Bone Hill. It's very sandbox like, so that would be a good one to review. And I've heard it's like very influenced by I guess the Conan story Red Nails. From people, the Conan Barbarian story Red Nails, I've heard some people say, I believe that was heavily influenced by it, but that's a good one to review. And I heard about the other one too. I saw it on Pacesetter's website, so I'd be willing to review those if you guys are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I went through. It doesn't look like Blackstone ever talked about I-1.
Well, there you go. We'll put that on our list. We'll put that in the queue.
While you're speaking to Blackstone, Nick, you might want to talk to him about actually doing something again because he's getting paid and not doing it yet again.
He is? Oh, that son of a gun. All right. I'll see what I can. I'll try to head over to the fortress, and hopefully I won't get pelted by ballistas and catapult stones. So right. I'll wave the white flag and see if they'll let me in.
Bring up Kojo Part 2 here.
Hey guys, this is DM Kojo calling for Roll for Initiative. Just wanted to give you a call and let you know I really enjoyed episode 163 about the OSR. Such guys gave a great synopsis of the formation of the OSR. As someone who kind of got in here on the wave of the OSR, I agree with a lot of your comments. A lot of great products out there. Good retro clones, lots of support and interest, I think, in earlier editions of D&D. And I think as far as the future of the OSR goes, I agree with some of what you guys said. I think 5th edition D&D is bringing a lot of old school players into that version where they're playing in an old school manner. I think as those of us in our 40s here and such are exposing our kids to it and that style of play, I think you're going to see them get older and become kind of part of that mainstream gaming community. So it won't be OSR, it'll just be playing in an old school manner. So also appreciate the props you gave for Dungeon Crawl Classics role-playing game. It's a great game. My group and I have been playing it for about a year and a half and loving it. And it's very old school in feel, obviously. And but I still consider myself an old school gamer, even though I'm playing a newer game because of the way that the game is played. And that's really what it all boils down to. So, great job as always, guys. Keep up the great work. Talk to you later. Bye.
Well, thank you, DM Kojo. It's funny how he said about the OSR community, how it's becoming more prevalent, I guess, more well known. And I have to agree, particularly when I went to Origins this year, I've really got a good look. It's like, wow, it's becoming I don't know if you want to call it it's kind of like a niche within the larger RPG community, but it's becoming very vocal, and I like that. And so I think it's something that a lot of people shouldn't just say it's passe, or it's just just a fad. I think it's something in the community that's growing, and it's going to become, like I think he says, going to be a little more integrated into the community as a whole.
Right. Just
the concept of gaming in an old school style, whatever that definition is.
Right. I think this is more, instead of just being like a nostalgia thing where people are willing to go back and revisit their youth, I think it's actually just that style of play is making a comeback, and it'll actually influence what would have been more like the 3.54E, and it'll become some sort of homogenized D&D 5th edition-ish type style.
Yeah.
So it'll take the aspects of both. And I think that's going to be more the way going forward.
There's no doubt there's a little bit of nostalgia involved with it, and that's one of the attractions for us, are like in our 30s and 40s. But beyond that, there's actually amazing support within that community beyond just the cool, oh man, I remember that sort of thing concept. It's going into so many different areas now, as far as support from different game companies, individuals, websites, podcasts like ours. I mean, it's become its own subculture within a subculture, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's slowly growing. It's slowly growing, and that is very promising to me. I don't think it's going to be going away.
No, I think it actually does have the staying power, unlike a true nostalgia fad. It comes back, oh, everyone remember this, because if it was a true nostalgia, you wouldn't see the influx of new creations based on those ideas. Whereas if it's true nostalgia, it would just be, let's dust off all the old modules and books, and it wouldn't actually be creating its own new work. It would just be living in the past.
And I think that's a great thing, because it's like a little bit of both.
Right.
I mean, that's how it kind of started, with a nostalgia factor. Like I said, with Hackmaster, it was like AD&D first and second edition repackaged. They did all the modules again, and then it just grew from there. Then you saw your own takes on certain things from the past, and they become unique in their own right. And I think Dungeon Crawl Classics is another step into that, and we're seeing more. I think we're seeing a lot more of that and more support of it. But it's a little bit of both, a little bit of nostalgia that's, like the reprints that Wizards of the Coast did. I mean, come on, they must have saw something there.
Right.
If they reprinted those 4 books, there must have been something to it, and I don't think you can deny that a certain amount of the old school RPG community had something to do with those coming out. So you have both of those things, both of those factors. There's new stuff, like you said, that's inspired by old school type of gaming, that mindset, and some of the old stuff just coming back and people wanting to play again, because it's still good.
Right.
It's not like it's broken,
right.
Unless, well, there are a few games back then that were actually broken, but
right. Yes, because that was the fledgling days of game design, at which point there's a lot of experimentation, and sometimes when you experiment, stuff doesn't work. But now we've learned from that, and so therefore we can
like Champions.
Yes.
Remember making a Champions character? You had to be almost had to be a PhD in mathematics.
Yeah.
Or Traveler, which I enjoy, but I mean, it was the first game of its kind where if you create a character, it could die in character creation.
Actually, I think it was last week we gamed and we did Traveler character creations.
Yeah.
Mike, I had characters die twice in character creation. And
It was old school before old school got a name.
Yes, I'm like, this is exactly what I want out of my gaming experience. I want to die during character creation, and I'm actually not being facetious. When the guy who was going to run the Traveler game said he was doing the new Traveler, I'm like, can you die in character creation? He's like, I don't think you can in this version. I'm like, I want the one where you can die in character creation. Because
I want that.
I want that because it's such a novel
nihilism.
concept. Thank you, GDW, for having games where you can die while making your character.
And that almost came full circle with Dungeon Crawl Classics with the character funnel.
Right.
Where you're asked to make 2 or 3 characters. And
more
then
like
you
10
do
or
an
11.
adventure, and you could have a whole bunch of them die.
Yeah. So, yeah, in some ways, the character funnel is the next iteration of the Traveler die during character creation.
Yes.
Alrighty, then. Let's go on to the next one.
Hey, RFI guys. This is DM Shayman. I have a couple questions for you guys, but first I would like to tell you that I really enjoy your podcast, and I've been making my way through all your old ones. And even when you guys get off topic, it's still pretty fun. My first question is the length of D&D sessions. I've been running one with 4 other people, and it seems that we've been hitting about the 4-hour mark. And I didn't know if you guys had a preferred amount of time that you like yours to run so that people don't get bored with it after a while. So far, everybody's had a good time, but it seems like a long time to play. And how do you end a session smoothly without just cutting it off and kind of going cold? My second question is, how prepared should I be for a session? Do I need to memorize the whole module? I mean, I realize you guys are doing first edition, so those are fairly old and you probably got them memorized, but I'm doing 5th edition. I know it might be a dirty word, but so it's all new to me. How far ahead do I have to prepare? And then how much ad lib do you guys throw into your adventures? For me, it seems kind of hard to ad lib much without feeling like I may make a mistake that doesn't really jive with the module or the adventure. So if you guys could answer that, that would be awesome. Really appreciate it and keep up the good work.
Prepared?
Hey, Aura.
Whoops. Prepared. Yes, read the module. We definitely recommend that.
Yeah,
it's always a good thing. At least read it once, and then the second time read it again, and be prepared to be thrown off course.
Yes, actually, expect to be thrown off course. Usually, what I'll do is
Murphy's Law.
Yes, they will break your game. It should. So usually, what I don't try to prepare too much. Mostly I'll go through as
those toss the cat.
Yes, as I play, like the cat just goes across the screen, sets it on the floor, and I'm sure we'll repeat this process a few times.
At least you're getting your exercise.
Yes, but I'll read through the module to have a general idea of the main plot points of this needs to happen in order to at least make it somewhat the module, and then from there, I may read a little bit of like the setup, and then because I don't know what my players are going to do other than something horribly wrong. I'm so doing battle currently with a kitten. This is not fun. But yeah, and as you can see, I wouldn't be able to prepare if I wanted to because I would have a kitten just wanting my attention. So, but no, I do little prepare, and I really play off what the players are doing. Sometimes they will throw out ideas for the plot where they think the plot is going that I like better than the module, so I'll steal that. That way the players get to feel smart, and I get a better story out of it. And sometimes, like for me, my sessions, they only go 2.5 hours, so they're not that extended to where I have to do a lot of prep either. So I'm a very much more of I'll just ad lib with, I have a few overarching plot points to get me through the session.
Well,
and Kitty wants to help.
Yes, Boo really does want to help. And mind you, the only time she wants to help is when I'm on the computer. Other than that, she'd be trying to eat me.
4 hours is my game go-to session. 4 to 6. 6 is stretching it. 4 is like the minimum.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, we usually average per month when we get together, probably about actual play time, 4 to 6 hours. Yeah, that sounds about right. And as far as preparedness is concerned, I think one of the things you got to do is know your group. You know, how do they play? Are they the type of group that just hang on your every word? Then you can probably read the module and one time. And then the second time, like you said, let's read through it again. And I would add to that, that's the second time is where you're going to make the notes. You know, things that you want to be that might be confusing when it comes to them. Like, I know for me, like certain types of real complex traps, that might be something I want to take a note on, and I'll run through it in my head a few times. That's just an example. I'll also think about how certain NPCs might react to certain things that the player characters do. So that might be some things I might take notes on. Other than that, I think, yeah, the time is good, 4 hours. And as far as ending it, I guess you want to end it at a time where the group itself is comfortable with. Like maybe you got done with a combat, for example, and they want to find a relatively safe place to heal up, to memorize spells and what have you. So that would be a good place to stop. Or maybe you want to leave it on a cliffhanger. Like they meet the maniacal laughing evil guy, and he gives his monologue. You know, he's monologuing, and after his monologue, you stop it there.
Yeah,
or something like that. You know, continue next week.
Right. I also like stopping.
I kind of like doing that.
Yeah, I like stopping even right before combat too. So that way, the next session it starts off with something that will get all the players going. Like, okay, last session you come across the massive horde of insert enemy here. Okay, and then when we start up, okay, you're in front of this horde. What do you do?
Insert name here. That's a terrible name.
Yeah. Oh no, it's the greatest thing though. It can fit in any campaign.
We're the evil horde of insert name here.
Exactly, and at that point, it can insert name here can span across genres, time streams. It could be an overarching villain in every RPG game you ever run.
I think we're both being sarcastic here.
Yes, just slightly. Albeit
Vince
now
is just shaking his head like, oh, jeez.
All right, so there we go. There's your answer. Let's go on to the next email. Voicemail, excuse me.
Hello, staff at RFI. This is Angelic Doctor on the forums, or DM Raul. I've got a question. You know, back in the day, there was a fad, if you will, to create your own classes. And one of the Gygax magazines I saw that this tradition is somewhat continued. I was wondering, have any of you on the RFI staff ever created your own class? Or if you've never created your own class and therefore have no class, no, I'm just kidding. Do you have any ideas as to what such a class might look like? How do you make a class in first edition AD&D? That's something I've always wondered. Is there not an exact science? I kind of suspect that there isn't, based on many of the Dragon magazines I've seen. But I would like to get your thoughts on the matter. Thank you very much, and have fun gaming.
Well, first I want to say it sounds like he's a live remote on some location in an island somewhere.
Yes.
I don't know. Making classes, of course we all made up our own classes. No, there's no science. You just kind of went with something that looked good and went with it. And hope the DM was like, yeah, cool. So
yeah. I would actually be one of the classless. I've never made my own class. Usually what I'll do, because when I think about it, when you make your own class, that means what the other classes aren't able to represent what you're wanting to accomplish. And usually I find that the classes in like first edition are flexible enough that you could just flavor them and fluff them to be whatever you want class-wise. I mean, now if there's something specific, like say a cleric wants to use a blunt weapon or something like that, I'll be like, okay. Or like I had a cleric one time that wanted to use like a crossbow. I'm like, okay, backstory. Explain to me why this cleric is special and is using this. And if you come up with a good explanation, then okay, good. I'll let you do it. So that's like the extent of my class modifications. It's more of just little minor adjustments to the existing ones as opposed to overhauling it and creating my own.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever made a class myself. Now, recently in my Land of a Thousand Towers campaign, I've modified classes from other works. Like I've taken a couple of stuff in the source book for Anomalous Subsurface Environment for that, and modified it to be used for first edition AD&D rules or Adventures Dark and Deep. I ported some of that stuff over, and I modified a gladiator class, I think from Hackmaster, and use that as well. But I've never made one my own. I don't think I'm that good.
I know there's
no rule formula.
There was an Excel sheet for making up classes that someone made with an article that was based on Basic Edition and Second Edition. But nothing for first, so you can. I don't know what the name of that was. I've seen it once in our forums, and you'd have to go around looking for it. There was an article, I think, in a Dragon magazine that explained how to make classes, and then someone made an Excel sheet breaking down everything the person told, and so you can easily just punch in stuff to get the experience for each custom class that you wanted to do. So it might be something to look into.
Okay. I would be afraid to make my own because I'm not saying afraid, I'd be a little intimidated because I think you might get to a point where you might make the class too powerful. You know, it doesn't, and it like overpowers other character classes within the system. I guess weird thing. I'm thinking game balance. Oh no.
I found an article for creating new classes in Dragon. It was from Dragon 82. Or no, it was Dragon 243 on page 82. In a class by themselves. By Tom Doolin.
Yeah, I think that was it.
So, that's where you can look all that information up. Dragon Magazine number 82.
No.
Or 243 on page 82. I'm like... For whatever reason, numbers do not like me today.
Matt's being distracted by his cat.
Yes. I'm like on guard now.
All right, so let's head over to some of the emails we have.
Okay.
The first email comes in from DM Morgan Z. Sowell. He was the one that wrote the module that we picked in our contest way back when. Remember A Darkness Under the Apple Valley that we picked as our winner of modules?
Yes.
Wasn't that like 2 years ago?
Yeah, something like that.
I think Will was part of the show.
Yes, he was. He's like, some time ago I entered and won your podcast module contest. I proudly have my prize on his bookshelf. After I entered, I took ill for a long while and was distracted. I consequently never dropped your show a line to say how much I enjoyed writing my module and how honored I was to have won. How much your show has kept my spirits up when I was ill, and thank you for the very kind review on the air. And he said, I understand DM Will is no longer with the podcast. If you were in contact with him, please forward my many thanks for the books. So thank you for writing in. We're glad that you enjoyed the review and glad that you won. So, and I'm glad we were able to help you through whatever happened to you with your time. I'm glad you're better now, hopefully.
Better and gaming and stronger and faster. Like the $6 million man.
Right. Anyway. Okay, so we have another email that came in from Goblin's Henchman. And he said he just put out an article in issue number 11 of End Magazine. And he thought maybe we can do a review of End Magazine. That might be not a bad idea. He's also the person that left the 10-minute voice message that broke the tape, so he says. And he said, in all fairness and everything, you always say, talk as long as you'd like. So he merely took us at our word. So, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I still not as long as the Julie voicemail. I'm sorry, my friend. Remember that one from way back when, Matt?
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah. That Jason was just like, oh my God. It was on the show back then. Right. She went on for like 18 minutes.
Wow. That was a while.
Yeah.
She made her own segment on the show.
Yes. Yes, that wasn't a voicemail. That was a segment. We should have put bumpers around it.
Yeah. Keep up the good work. He did actually set alignments for each of the hosts on the podcast.
Oh, boy.
Okay, we're going to start with, I'll start with Nick. Nick, he said you would be a chaotic good gnome illusionist thief.
Gnome illusionist thief?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I could go with the chaotic gnome illusionist.
Matt,
that would be fun.
Yes.
Matt would be a neutral good tinker gnome.
Yeah. Yes.
Gnomes.
Considering my issues with technology.
DM Will, formerly of the podcast, will be a lawful good human paladin.
Yeah.
But your moniker's the evil GM.
That was DM Will, I said.
Oh.
Yes.
No, don't worry. Mine would be a lawful evil human cavalier.
I can see that. Yeah.
That works. Thank you. Chad would be a lawful neutral human psionicist because he's the only one on the show who likes psionics. And he said failing that, he would be a ninja.
Ninja.
And DM Crispy.
Oh my God.
I'm not sure why he did this. Maybe it was a typo, but he put a chaotic evil Kender.
Chaotic evil Kender.
He put CCE, so I'm assuming that's chaotic evil. So he's massively chaotic in more ways than one.
Just a little bit evil.
He's a Kender, or no, he'd be a Kender Oriental Barbarian Paladin.
Wow.
And,
that's one hell of a party.
And he said he should be on the podcast more often. Well, Crispy's in Crispy Land right now, so.
Is that anywhere near Kentucky?
Yeah. And DM Jason would be a chaotic neutral elven magic user.
Yeah.
That one doesn't fit though.
Well.
Jason would be more like a lawful neutral elven magic user.
Yeah, lawful neutral.
Mm-hmm. And he also goes on to say, P.S. I missed the old bumpers that said, Master, Master, they're at the gates again. Those ones. I don't remember that one.
I think those were the ones that might have been a little on the long side, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, those are the ones that Full On Gamer did that everybody said they hated because they were like too long.
Right.
They were cool, but they were just way too long.
They were quality. They were great bumpers. It was just they were a little on the long side.
Well, thank you for that interesting assessment.
No malicious thief.
Yeah,
I could run with that.
All right, so this one comes in from DM Ray. He says, hey guys, great podcast. I've been playing AD&D for almost 30 years, along with many other games. I plan to have any plans to bring back the RFI DM screen? No.
There's your answer.
No. I am new to your podcast and just heard about it. I know I'm 4 years behind, but wanted to know if I could still get one somewhere. No.
That was unfortunately no.
That was a horrible debacle to deal with. That whole.
We could have just said limited edition and left it at that.
Right.
It was a limited edition release. It was just a debacle, is what it was.
Yes. Because producing DM screens is hard.
Yeah.
The dude that did the DM screens took forever to do them. Gave me a date, promised me a date, and then wrote me back a week before the date, telling me it was going to be 2 weeks later. So I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. And then the dude friggin' sent the DM screens after putting them together inside of a plastic bag inside of a box. So what happened when I took them out of the plastic grocery bag that he put them in from wherever supermarket, it stuck to the side of the modules, the side of the DM screens. So about 6 of them I had to give a half discount on because it was a paper bag. I mean, a plastic bag stuck to it. Someone sounded like they were talking in the background there. But anyway, the plastic bag stuck to half of them so because of the glue he didn't let dry, and he just shoved them in the bag and sent them out. In which he said, oh, well, that's the breaks to me when I got them. So I had to give discounts to everybody, and he was the only person that I've ever found that could do a screen, and half of them were lopsided. And he was just like, oh, it's human error, and everything's perfect. I'm like, if you're doing it by hand, they should be perfect, dude.
Right.
It's not like it was a machine doing it, and you were just shoving it through a machine and going, meh, and then throwing it on the pile. He said he hand did every one of them.
Wow. Yeah, I forgot about that. I must have blocked that on my memory.
Yeah, so sorry, DM Ray. Okay, so we had a really long email about giving experience points from the Goblin Henchman, and I'm going to summarize most of it. He just listened to 156 about warning experience. XP for encounters, not just killing. XP should be rewarded for overcoming an encounter, even if the monster is not killed or scaring it off or running away with an illusion, something like that. Securing treasure is important, and by securing, he means get the treasure out of the dungeon, not necessarily walk it all the way back to the homestead, but at least get it to a secure area. No XP for gold acquired in trade. He doesn't believe that you should be taking gold in trade and using that for experience points. Maybe you don't agree with that. Some people do. And he also says if you sell weapons that are magic weapons at whatever gold value, you shouldn't lose the experience points for selling the weapon away. You should obtain it either way. I don't agree with that, but and that's the emails. What do you think? No comments about gold for XP and stuff?
Yeah. Well, you with me, in my Ravenloft campaign, I was handing out gold like candy just because I was trying to level them up very quickly. So I was a little more lenient on the what they did with their gold, just because I'm trying to level them up rapidly. But yeah, I do think when it comes to the gold for XP, like just securing it does not necessarily back in their house in their giant money bin. That shouldn't be a requirement to get it, but just somewhere to where they couldn't easily oops, we forgot it as we were running away from this monster. So I think there's a happy medium with that. And as for XP for getting around monsters as opposed to just killing them, absolutely. I will gladly, if they come up with a novel way to defeat a monster that doesn't involve poking them with a sharp object, then yeah, I'll give them XP for that. So I may be a little on the generous side when it comes to XP.
Alrighty then. Cool. I guess that's going to wrap up the show this week. And we thank everybody for the email and voicemail. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll be back in two, like Chuck Woolery used to say. With another show. Hopefully we will find another module to review from the OSR community. Just having fun doing that. Oh, we did get a nod and a wonderful picture on our Twitter from the last episode from the module that we just reviewed. I can't think of the name offhand. Little bit of the Yes, what was it? The Red Crows M4 group. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name offhand right now. Yeah, it just popped into my head. They sent us a picture of holding up a drink to us, saying thank you for the wonderful review.
Cool. Well, you're welcome.
That was a great module. I enjoyed it.
Wonderful.
I was glad that popped up on the thing, and I was able to download that and give it a review on the show. So hopefully people went and checked it out and bought more of their stuff along the way. All right, so 165 in the can. So good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
This podcast is brought to you in part by a not very generous grant from Lesser Gnome, publisher of quality role-playing games since last year. Gnomes value high-minded programming just like you. Learn more at their website at www.lessergnome.com.
The Roll for Initiative podcast is a production of Wild Games Productions in association with D20Radio.com. You can visit us at rfipodcast.com or contact us on our forums at osrgaming.org or even by calling us at 570-865-4210. This podcast is produced for entertainment purposes only. All other uses are prohibited. And remember, if your magic missile spell doesn't automatically hit, you're playing the wrong edition. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Roll for Initiative.